Hey, what's up, Liron here. Thank you for joining me in this video. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that my paintings tend to start very colorful and vibrant, and many of them retain that property all the way to the end. A lot of people are scared of using strong, vibrant paints, especially in the beginning of the painting process. But in this video, I want to eliminate that fear and show you why I'm using very colorful colors, why I'm not scared of doing that, and why you shouldn't be scared of doing that either, okay? Because there's a lot of merit to do it. Now, the gist of it, the too long didn't read version of this video is watercolor is a one-way street. It's very easy to start with vibrant colors, and it's very easy to mute them down. It's very hard to go back to pure, beautiful, vibrant colors, but it's very easy to mute them, which is why I start with the most vibrant and vibrant color possible that I can use, okay? But then again, it's very easy to mute, and they dry very lightly, so very light rather, so don't be scared of doing that. That's my main message to you today. So with that being said, let's take it to the table and get started. So first I want to show you a couple of paintings to illustrate the point. This is an example for a first wash and then a very simple shadowy wash above it. This is a part of a demo I did for a student actually, so it's very incomplete. I did not finish this painting, but it does go to show you the point. And the paper isn't as good quality as I'd like it to be actually, but you see how vibrant yellows, vibrant reds, vibrant blues. I am doing this a lot, okay? Even this area that's a little more muted has a lot of color variety in it, okay? Let me show you another one. I'm showing you on purpose paintings that I did not show you any of before that. So this is actually a painting I did of Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk is an entrepreneur I've been following. And notice how, again, this is a bit more muted, but still orange, purple, blue, a bit of yellow. There's a lot of these colors here. Let me show you another plein air one that I did. This car, just painted it when I was sat down in front of it. You see all these yellows and purples, and here is very strong yellow, strong red, greens. And this one that I did, I also shared on TikTok, and you can see here strong blues, strong yellows, super strong yellow. I'm really not afraid of going as dark on the first wash. So let me explain why. The reason is it is always easy to mute the color the more you layer on top of it, but it is always hard to produce a vibrant color. So the only chance you really get to go vibrant is that first wash. Let me show you. So here I have just a piece of watercolor paper, and I want to show you everything. I am doing a bit of a different setup on purpose. First, I'm filming in my living room because it's a very dark and gloomy day, so I want you to see everything and there's better light here. And second, I don't know, just to keep things interesting. So let me show you. Here's a very, very vibrant red, okay? What happens is when you put in the first layer of watercolor, the paint, the light, basically the light shines on the paper, and you can actually see the paper under the paint. So the light touches the paper, goes back to our eyes, the red color in this example, and it's very vibrant and fun and happy because there's minimal interference. It's just the paper, and you can see this with very wet layers. I'm sure you know this. When you first put the paint onto paper, you love it because it's very vibrant and fun, but then somehow things go a little, some people call it muddy. I just think it's muted. It's muted and maybe not as interesting. So you see, this is a very pure and happy yellow. And my first layers, as I've shown you, are very, very vibrant. I always, almost always start with a vibrant yellow, yellow and layer, yeller. There we go, I invented a word. But let me show you a blue. Okay, so this is another pure, beautiful blue. And why do I do this? And I'm gonna put this aside for a moment and bring back the painting I just showed you. This also started as a pure blue. Almost probably as pure as this, if not more. So it started as a pure blue, but now look at it after glazing a couple of layers and shadows. It became super muted. Now, had I wanted to place on top of this a very vibrant, colorful blue, it's impossible in watercolor. That's it, I'm done. The only way of doing it would be to use paint straight out of the tube, which is something I do sometimes. You just pick it up fresh and you put it there and you get a nice effect. It looks good. But if you really want to work traditionally, which sometimes I do, and leave the highlights, just leave them, paint around them, no masking tape, no white gel pen like I did here, no paint pure straight out of the tube. What you want to do is preserve the highlights. you have to provide yourself with this initial layer of highlights. So what I essentially do when I paint this kind of a thing is I paint the highlights. Okay, I allow them to be red afterwards. But I want to show you something interesting regardless of that. Again, when you just put in the first layer, it's very easy to go vibrant and very colorful. Look at this red. Once I just glaze over a part of it, notice how muted it became. Immediately, you can see a bit of the red and you can see the blue because it's watercolor, it's transparent, so you can see both colors. Let's do the same with yellow, and it's not fully dry, but you'll still get the point. Here's a bit of yellow in my brush. Okay, let's get a bit more, and I'm just gonna place it over it, and notice how it immediately shut off the lights. That's how watercolor paint works. It shuts off the light. The more layers you put in, the less light can touch the paper and bounce back to our eyes. So what I want to do is at the very least provide a place, and I'm going to go back with some very dark paint, provide a place for the light highlights if or should I be interested in them in the future. So let's go with a very dark wash on top of the red. Okay, so here we go. Dark, 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 dark. And then I have a red highlight amidst all of that. Here's another red highlight. You see, I'm building up my highlights using the color underneath. But if I started with a very muted color, I wouldn't get this vibrant possibility. But you can always mute it. Don't forget, as I showed you, you can always mute it. If you just glaze one or two more colors over it, it will mute itself. Okay, so let's take a bit of red, put it on top of the blue. That's it. You lost the vibrancy forever. Unless, again, you come back with pure paint straight out of the tube, which I will show you in just a moment, and bring it back. But unless you do that, this is gone. Now let's take a bit of yellow and put it on top of that. Even more gone. Okay, you have to understand that it's a one-way street. You start as bright and vibrant as you can, and then you mute it. You can mute everything. I can just now, I don't even have to go dark. Look at this yellow. Okay, I'm gonna grab just some very watered down red. Okay, I'm gonna put it on top, and even when it's watered down, it kills the vibrancy. Okay, you see this, it grays it, it mutes it, which is fine. That's a part of painting. Sometimes you use mute colors, but I want to have the possibility. Here's again a very light blue. Same thing. I lost the highlight. I lost the not necessarily the value. It's not just the darkness. It's the vibrancy of the paint. Watercolor is a one-way street. You start vibrant and you will always mute it by glazing. Okay, by glazing over. Let me show you once again, just so that you remember nice and slowly. With watercolor, you always start bright and vibrant, and you will always end up muting it the more colors you add. Always, always, always. That's how it works. Unless, again, the one exception, here it is, I mute it. The one exception, and it's one way. One way. Okay, I'm doing this so that you can remember. The one and only exception is using pure paint straight out of the tube, almost like you would with acrylics or oils. Let me show you how I'm doing that. So I brought a tube with me. This is Hansa Yellow Medium. And I want to show you how this blue is a mid-value. It's fairly dark. It's not light, okay? It's not a light glaze. But it's also not dark. It's not black. It's kind of in the middle. Even this, I can put on top of that pure paint and have it look lighter. Why? Because if I'm going to use the paint straight out of the tube, I'll get it to look exactly the way it looks here. So let me grab some paint here. And I use this all the time to add highlights and so on. I just don't want my entire painting to rely on it. And once I do this, okay, you can barely see it because I didn't pick up enough paint, but let's try again. And this paint isn't fully opaque, so sometimes it doesn't work. But you see it's lighter. It's definitely going to be lighter here. Okay, I lightened it up. I actually should have brought the... You know what? I don't even have to use pure paint. I'm going to show you with this Pyrrole Scarlet. I can just pick up the Pyrrole Scarlet pure as it is, because it re-wets very easily, and you see how it lightens up? You know, that's not good enough. I'm going to bring the Pyrrole Scarlet. So I'm not compromising. I want you to see this effect in full, actually. So here we go. Pure Pyrrole Scarlet. I'm going to use the thing on my cap, because I don't need much paint to do this. Let's clean the brush. Showing you the whole thing, barely edited, very raw. Okay, so here we go. This is the cap. A bit of that red. Sorry, now you can see this better, okay? And look how much it shows on top of a very dark paint. Okay, let's do the same thing with, you can really see it. It's crazy light. Okay, so because it looks light as it is in its most, what do you call it? The opposite of watered down, you know, the most concentrated. The most concentrated version of it, here we go, you can see it here too, is very light. So when you use that most concentrated amount of it, again, let me do this here. You see, it lightens up the thing. Notice here, it's really, really light. Okay, I don't know why the camera doesn't focus that well. I'm gonna, by the way, upgrade it soon. But in any case, you get my point. The only way of bringing back that vibrancy is to use paint straight out of the tube. And if you just want to paint like that, switch to acrylics and oils. But in watercolor, it's a bit harder. Okay, and I'm not saying that as I'm not trying to insult you by saying go to acrylics. It's just a different way of painting. So watercolor does not provide that too much. Okay, to some extent, yes. But notice how, again, if you go back with another color, you'll mute it. And I started very bright here. Now, one more thing I want to show you. How will I demonstrate this? Okay, so this red, okay, it's dry already. Notice how, when I just put it on paper, notice how strong it looks. And it's scary. People are scared of this strength. But notice once it dries, it's not that strong. It's going to dry fairly light. And if you do the first wash, you go very wet. You just use tons of water. So I know it looks super strong and people are scared to go this bold. And when I show them how I did this one, for example, and I went really bold with the red and yellow, they don't believe that this is the end result. But it is. This is the thing. You should not fear going this dark because first off, it's easy to mute. And second, it's going to dry much lighter and much less strong than it is, much weaker. So start strong. Don't be afraid of it. It's a good way to go and you can always mute it down later. Okay, I hope that makes sense. With that, let's wrap up this vid. So I hope this tutorial was useful and now you see why there isn't really much to be scared of using very pure, vibrant colors in the beginning of the painting. The opposite is true. You should use vibrant and very bright and pure colors in the beginning of the painting. And I'm gonna go back to this example I showed you in the beginning, in the introduction to this video, and just direct you to look at some of the, the beautiful yellow here, and the red there, and all of the highlights showing through this building. Had I not done it this way, I would never be able to produce this kind of result, okay? So I want you to reverse it. Not only should you not fear it, I want you to try it out more and more. Try using pure, colorful, beautiful colors, okay? This is something I also talk about in the frustration-free watercolor course of going vibrant, not being scared of it, and going a la prima too. So you definitely want to check that out if it's relevant to you. I will put a link in the description box below. We're going to eliminate the fear and the stifleness that comes sometimes with watercolor and paint in a fun way that also produces results, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in a comment down below what you think. This means the world to me to just get feedback and just know your thoughts and be able to better improve my videos in the future. So I really appreciate it, and I will see you again in a future video.